2 days after pro-independence parties secured a parliamentary majority in Catalonia, separatist leader Carles Puigdemont has called on the Spanish government to let him come home. Puigdemont, who is currently in self-imposed exile in Belgium, faces possible arrest in Spain on charges of rebellion. But speaking on Saturday, he demanded Madrid allow him to return in time for the opening session of the new Catalan parliament. "I want to come back to Catalonia as soon as possible," he said. "It would be good news not only for my family, obviously, and not only for Catalonia, but also for Spain. It would be very good news for Spain and Spanish democracy to recognise and restore the democratic legality which the Spanish government put on hold. I am still and have not stopped being the president of the regional government." Spanish Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy said on Friday he was open to dialogue, but implicitly rejected Puigdemont's demand to meet soon. The government of Spain would like to offer all its cooperation and all its willingness for a constructive, open and realistic dialogue, he said, but always within the rule of law. Rajoy has also made it clear that he expects to speak to Inés Arrimadas of the centre-right Citizens Party first. Her unionist movement exceeded all expectations in Thursday's regional poll by winning the most votes. Arrimadas, however, does not have enough seats or the allies to form a government, with separatist parties holding a narrow majority. For now, at least, the political uncertainty which has dogged Catalonia for months is sure to last well into the new year, with talks to form a new government not expected to start until after the holiday break.
North Korea has responded to sanctions imposed on them by the United Nations Security Council, calling the measures an act of war. The UN placed sanctions on the country following a series of weapons tests. The most recent test fired a ballistic missile nearly 3,000 miles into the air. This is not the first time sanctions have been imposed on the country. Sanctions are already in place from the United States and the European Union. In the latest measure, the UN say North Korean petrol imports will be reduced by up to 90%. There has also been a ban on exports of North Korean goods such as electrical equipment. The government in Pyongyang has been defiant in its response. The Foreign Ministry called the sanctions a violent breach of our republic's sovereignty and an act of war that destroys the peace and stability of the Korean Peninsula and a wide region. They added that North Korea would not be deterred from continuing its nuclear program in order to counter threats from the United States.
Peru's former president, Alberto Fujimori, has been rushed to hospital after suffering a severe drop in blood pressure and abnormal heart rhythm. His doctor said he was at risk of dying. Cardiologists advised the 79-year-old should be removed from prison, where he has been serving 25 years for graft and human rights crimes. Many consider him a corrupt dictator, while others credit him with ending an economic crisis and a bloody leftist insurgency during his term, which ended 17 years ago. Despite Fujimori's downfall, the right-wing populist movement he started in the 1990s remains one of the country's most potent political forces. 37 people are feared dead after a fire spread through a shopping centre in the Philippine city of Davao. Local media said most of the victims were believed to be employees of a call centre on the top floor of the building. The fire was still blazing before dawn on Sunday morning. President Rodrigo Duterte visited the mall on Saturday night to comfort relatives of the victims. Duterte served 2 terms as the city's mayor and still lives in Davao. The area had already been hit by a tropical storm which triggered mudslides and flash floods that have killed more than 100 people. Some 70,000 people have been displaced from their homes, but disaster officials say many residents had ignored warnings to leave coastal areas and riverbanks. The Philippines is battered by about 20 typhoons every year, bringing death and destruction, usually to the poorest communities.
Is this the most expensive fake Christmas tree in the world? Estimated by some to be 4 times the price of the one outside the Rockefeller Center in New York, some in Belgrade certainly seem to think so. At a whopping €83,000, the high price of the 18-metre artificial tree has sparked uproar in the Serbian capital, with opposition politicians and locals crying foul, accusing the city's authorities of corruption. This is not only the most expensive Christmas tree in the world, it's also an insult, the like of which Belgrade's citizens have not experienced in their history. Despite the public prosecutor's office launching an inquiry, many in Belgrade have been left both baffled and outraged at the cost. This man said the price is high, really unbelievable. I could not believe it. It's unbelievable how shameless the authorities are. The one who bought it should be held responsible, said this man. Belgrade's mayor has insisted he was unaware of the price and has promised to cancel the deal. For the moment at least, that appears to have done little to quell public anger.
The ancient city of Pompeii in Italy has opened 3 newly restored Roman houses. The country's Minister for Culture inaugurated the buildings, which are now open to visitors. The flowered Lararium house retains much of its original wall paintings, as well as an area intended for worship, which is decorated with flying cupids and scattered flowers. A large room overlooking the garden has mythological squares in the centre of yellow panels. Pompeii was devastated by the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 AD, but the ash and rock preserved much of the city, providing a snapshot of life nearly 2,000 years ago.
E televidente, momento para um espaço comercial, agora nós está back Deporte.